Hello, my name is Raymond Brown. I am a computer animation student at Full Sail University Online. This video blog is for the Fundamentals of Physics class for July 2014. I know that many people think of a degree like computer animation and think, why would you need to take physics for that degree? Well, that's a question I hope to answer, at least in part, in this short video. The way I'm going to attempt to answer this question is to walk you through what a modeler or animator has to think about when creating anything that can potentially move in our 3D environments, like our movies or our video games. This is a model that I began working on a few weeks ago. The concept is to have a bracer with a crossbow mounted to it. The idea is that the crossbow can be cocked and fired with a single hand. The only purpose of the other hand is to load the bolt into the crossbow. There are two things that I want to point out here. A basic knowledge of physics is extremely helpful in situations like this. It may look weird to you at first, but this is the collapsed or stored version of my crossbow. I have a latch on the top that allows the housing to be disengaged. What I want to animate and have happen would be that the housing around the bow to swing open the instant that the latch is released. Now thinking about that, you could say that the limbs of the bow itself could provide enough force to cause this to happen, to cause it to spring outward. I thought that too at first, but the more I thought about it, the more it made this weapon seem less than feasible. I want this to be truly unique, but at the same time, I want it to be believable. Because of that, I had to think about the potential energies that the limbs of the bow would have. I had to think of that at multiple stages. How much energy would I have to overcome to close this once it was open? Because of this, the model is not yet ready to be considered complete. I had to think up a new mechanism to add to the model that can overcome the power of the limbs and allow the shell to be closed. And it also has to be operated by one hand. It has to be able to be done by the offhand. All of these considerations revolve around physics. Even though I may not be using equations or precise calculations, I still have to think about the laws behind physics in order to make this a believable model. And other modelers, even if they don't realize it, they do the same thing. They think about the physics behind it if they want their model to be realistic. Just to be clear, what I'm about to bring up next, I do not recommend that anybody attempt or try to use anything like it. But let's say that I wanted to take this a step farther. Let's say I wanted to get a 3D printer and actually make this bad boy and, actually get it to work. Have my own designed crossbow. I can't just expect to believe that this model would actually work like a crossbow should. I would have to do research. I would have to look into everything from the exact size, shape, and angle of the bow arms. I would have to perform calculations to see how far back the draw of the crossbow should be to prevent catastrophic failure and possible injury or death to myself or whoever is using it. I would have to determine if the pulleys or the cams could function properly after being 3D printed, or if I should just buy the cams and add them to my model. I actually found a wonderful paper written by Andrew Joseph Hanson. He did research into the kinemetics of compound bows and crossbows. He had a list of equations that one could use to help accomplish something like what I mentioned. As you can tell, this is a model that I have thought a lot about. And for me to be satisfied with this, and for it to seem like it could possibly exist in the real world, I have to have an understanding of physics. And that is how it is, that's how it should be, and for anyone in the computer animation industry or game design industry or coming into the industry, if you want your work to look realistic, you'll do it the same way. You'll want to follow the laws of physics.